My StarCraft is not... I feel like XSplit is broken at the moment. It wasn't picking up Skype, then it wasn't picking up StarCraft. I don't know, James. But we're here, it's working now, and I'm not going to freak out. Spawning here in the bottom left corner of the map, it's actually just one game. It's a best of one. It's the round of 32 for the OlimoLeague. The emotional OlimoLeague, actually. It's going to be the Orange North American, the Fort Hope Moosegills.
Spawning on the 1 o'clock position, playing as Red Protoss. Who is it? Dignitas Seed.
You know, I always forget that Dignitas still has a StarCraft 2 team. Then Bling qualifies for WCS Europe. Seed constantly plays over here. Like, it's just... Man, you forget about some of these guys, but there's still a team, they're still around.
Yeah, I think it's because Select used to be the big guy who
oh, Select is absolutely
really playing all that.
Yeah, big dog on campus. Sup, son, and all that. Well,
that guy definitely is hilarious.
Before we get too far into the cast today, guys, we already have a couple of very nice donations. $5 from Kitty the Neko says, "Good morning, Olima Hype, Ace-Kate." And Zarathus with a $4.17 donation. What? It says, "Never stop casting, sleep is for the dead." Alright. Thank you guys for your early morning messages. The second one seems a little bit more grim, but I'll take it in good faith. But it looks like Moosegills comes across the map. I don't know if he's going to go for a hatchery block or not. We've seen, oh my god, so many hatchery blocks in Overgrowth lately. I think True's really the one who made it popular, but everyone else has been emulating it since. This drone's getting really low, though. He's got to be careful. Alright. Wasn't sure if he was going to dedicate too much to that, but... Nexus comes down out of Seed. Not Nexus first. Keep my Gateway did come down in his base, but... I don't know, James. You get a lot of PVZs last night? I didn't actually see your roster too much. Like I said, I stayed up for Joxy and Hero, and that was about it.
We saw a very interesting game of PVZ on Overgrowth. It was Hydra versus Parting, where Parting started out with the the Forge Opener into, what was it? The Cannon Rush, and then later on, he decides to build six gateways right in front of the natural, like on the natural, and actually blocking out the ramp. So going for 7 gateway all-ins in front of
it's like proxy all-in, yeah. Oh, I wish I could see that one. I'm gonna have to go look up the VODs for that one. Like I told you, right? Like Party's been like really full Protoss lately. It's kind of gross. But this is a really funny. This is something where, speaking of cheese, I'm wondering if Moosegills is going to go for it or not. If he goes for some sort of weird all-in versus Seed. I mean, it's not that I don't think Moosegills couldn't play a macro game versus Seed, but that would only really be something I think he would try and pull off maybe in a best of 3. I mean, keep in mind, best of 1 for this round makes it a little bit scarier for someone like Seed, who could possibly be knocked out of the tournament this early by maybe a Ling all-in or something silly.
It's best of 1, right?
Yep.
So, anything can happen. You know, if I were to play in this tournament, best of 1 against someone like Seed, I'll probably go for like 6 pull and just cross my fingers, hope it works.
6 pull? Okay, Sulky, calm down. Well, regardless of what he's going for, I thought maybe with him pulling off the gas the way he did, we're going to see heavier Ling, but he does take a 3rd base, so Moosegills playing it straight. It's weird to consider that he's the one who's going to have cross-server lag, considering North America is kind of the middle ground between every server. You know, Korea versus North America still tends to go on North America for most tournaments. Europe versus Korea, obviously on North America. It's just one of the few times Moosegills probably playing away on the away team, so to speak, to Korea. But
a lot of times, you know, at this hour, the lag seems to be okay to come to Korea from North America. Even if there's a slight lag, a lot of the mentality with Zerg players is that when they experience even a slight bit of lag, what they do is they just play as greedy as they can and try to just pound down on their opponent with just sheer number of units.
Well, I think it depends on your coast too. I've heard a lot of different tales about how the East Coast suffers far differently than the West Coast. You and I are blessed with the West Coast. I say that sarcastically because we all know the West Coast is the worst coast for esports. But I think we're a little bit closer to the Korean server.
Hey, but West Coast is where Vancouver Canucks is at.
West Coast, best coast.
Yeah.
All right, so Moosegills didn't get to stop this by any means, but when you see 5 sentries heading to the 3rd with a probe, you got a pretty good idea of Nexus is on the way. In fact, he's got the Overlord sitting here. Now, a lot of the times you see this, so it's kind of like, is this going to be a fake? Because let's be honest, Protoss love doing their all-ins, but nope, we've had Seed continually making probes behind this, so this is a very real 3rd on the way. Ooh, Chrono's at that +1 though, in clear view of the Overlord. Curious if that's a bit of a fake. I think Moosegills think there's more aggression coming than there will be. Seed's one of these players too. I think when he gets to blink, he becomes a god. He ascends. Not sure if we'll see that displayed here, but there's a lot of sentry energy bulked up, and if he wants to push anytime soon, I mean, he does have an army that could contest that 3rd.
Bit of a waste of force field, in my opinion. But
safe than sorry. You got like 7 force fields.
Let's see if Seed will go for that that Hero Sim City on the 3rd. You see on the Pro League or not?
Oh yeah, where you go to the left and to the right with the gateways.
Yeah, was it at the Pro League or Spo TV Star League?
I have no idea, man.
Oh man, it's way too many tournaments these days. I'm losing track. I have bad enough memories as is.
Well, marching down towards that 3rd. He is doing this without a pylon, so keep in mind, guys, this is not really an all-in. It's a really big pressure, though, that with so many force fields can do a lot of damage. Very important, Moosegills minimizes his losses here, trying to trade a couple of roaches for those sentries. A little bit too greedy, being on the wrong side of those force fields, but if he can only pick off those sentries, his life would be so much easier. But a recall goes off, gets 1 sentry.
That was actually pretty good for Seed.
Yeah, I'll actually
in exchange of a handful of units.
It was good for Seed, but I'd argue it was almost better for Moosegills. I think when he saw that Forge Chrono, I mean, we saw his drone production start lessening, and he definitely got those roaches out as quick as he could. If that attack came and there was only links to defend it, Moosegills is a dead man. He loses that 3rd. Oh. And what's sad is, like, that's, again, not an all-in. That's like a pressure. So, kind of it's like this check 1-2, like, are you a pro player? Seed feels it out, says Moosegills plays all right. Now he's going to have to play for real. +2 on the way. We got Blink coming as well. These Stalkers are going to be so incredibly hard to deal with. I mean, like I said earlier, once Seed gets to this point where he can micro like crazy, he will. That's going to be one of my favorite things about Seed, too. It's just, given the right circumstances, he can make magic happen with small amounts of units. I think my favorite memory still is San was hitting him with a big all-in, but he had less units, he had barely blink, and he still managed to hold. Like, Seed can do some cool stuff.
Hey, that's Protoss.
Well, I mean, that time was Protoss versus Protoss, though, so it's like,
Okay, then. That's a little bit more weird.
But okay, so the amount of force fields available, at least 8, but some of these sentries are full, so there's at least 2 or 3 in them. The roach count for Moosegills is still getting pretty crazy. I'm loving the tunneling claws coming out of this, though. If there's one way to get around force fields, it's going to be with combination burrow and tunneling claws. Now, as the links get soaked up here for the cannon fodder, he does have an observer out here, so a burrow's not going to save him, but it will reduce the losses. Oh, still looking to pressure in. He's got to wait for that tunneling claws to finish, though, so he can actually move underneath the force fields, so he can get through them to actually attack.
And also really good micro out of Moosegills too. Well, this one didn't go very well.
Yeah.
I think I have this tendency every time I cast in a phase 3 TV, either I just blind guesses the strategy correctly, or I say something, or I praise the player for doing something, and it just completely goes out.
It's not just you, man. Trust me, we do the same thing. But there we go, moving right through those force fields, gets on top of the army. But I don't think he's got enough roaches to really make this work just yet.
There's also Immortal in that crowd.
Yeah.
Well, the first engagement was okay. He pretty much traded all his links and withdrew a lot of force fields out of those sentries. But the second one,
it's still 43 roaches dead at the end of the day. I mean, he's already lost a lot leading into this. If he had 40 more roaches with him, this would be a lot easier to deal with. But as we see, once again, the tunneling claws coming into effect to help the brother roaches that are saved or stuck on the other side of the force fields. But the numbers just aren't in his favor, and Seed with that +2 weapon upgrade is tearing through these roaches. The Immortal in the back just shelling away. He's got about 6 kills on it already. Not too bad.
Yeah, that Immortal should have been focused on as the first target.
For Seed, I almost wonder if it's better to just give up the gold base and bulk up an army that can fight, because right now, every time he comes into this, he's going to bleed out roaches. Every roach is so valuable when you're down in numbers like this. Trying to get on top of the army, it's no longer a priority of picking off the sentries. The force fields don't matter. It's the stalkers. It's stalkers with blink, and you have no Hydralisk as a Zerg player. Oh, you gotta get that unit count up, Moosegills. There's no way you're gonna hold this without it. Gold base is really important to hold on to. I get that, but I think if he dedicates to this, he's gonna lose the game. Jones are being pulled. Couple more force fields going off. Burrows through the army once more. I mean, he does get a little bit of healing while that goes on. Tries to focus down the Immortal. Takes that out pretty quickly. But the Stalker count is still out of control. 32 Stalkers with Blink, mind you. Moosegills is doing some pretty fancy footwork here, but it's just not quite keeping up with what's Blink on Stalkers. And as it goes the gold base.
Yeah, and those Protoss shield generates really quickly. So, like you said earlier, losing a roach or two, try to engage or try to buy some time just wasn't the best decision out of